Fool's Gold. Mike Toothman was a coal miner for the Fairmont Coal Company. One day, in the late part of the fall of 1950, he got laid off from his job. With no job and no money, he resorted to fixing his problems by drinking. He would go out every night and get sloppy drunk. When he would return home, his wife Patty would remind him they had no money to pay the bills. She would ask him why he was spending the few spare coins they had left on booze. This would cause him to get angry at his wife, and he would then beat her and break up the house. This happened every night for months. One day, when he was especially angry, he came home drunk, and like usual, Patty questioned him. But this time, he had had enough of her back-talking him. And this time, when he beat her, he let his anger get the best of him, and he punched and kicked her till she was a dead, bloody pulp. Desperate to hide his crime, he chained her body to cement blocks, and he threw her into the Monongahela River from the Fairmont concrete bridge. With Patty gone, Mike's life seemed to improve. She was no longer there to complain about his drinking or money. And a week later, the mine called him back to work. Soon he was flush with money, but his newfound fortune came with a haunting price. One night, he had a dream. And in the dream, Patty had come to him. And she told him there was a spot in the mine where a huge pile of gold was hidden. In the dream, she told him how to find it. And when he woke up, he had a smile on his face. For the first time, Mike felt a twisted sense of gratitude towards his late wife. He liked this new version of her much better compared to the back-talking nag he had always viewed as worthless. The next day, he was determined to find that gold. Mike devised a plan. He paid a co-worker to punch his time card at the end of the shift, allowing him to stay behind in the mine unnoticed. This would give him the opportunity to dig the gold up and carry it out of the mine unnoticed. The last thing Mike wanted to do was to have to share his good fortune with someone else, or worse, to be forced to hand it over to the coal company. Once he was sure all of his co-workers had left, he followed Patty's direction like she had described in his dream, but soon found himself lost in the labyrinth of tunnels. Exhausted and frustrated, he sat down on the coal ground and fell asleep. As he lay there, he dreamed of Patty again. This time, she told him to look for chalk markings on the wall with her initials. He could follow them right to the gold, she said. When he awoke, he saw the chalk marks, just as she had described, and he followed them eagerly. But as the day wore on, the marks began to fade, making them harder and harder to see. But still, he continued further and deeper into the mine. However, after a couple more hours of struggling to find the marks just seemed to vanish. He looked all around and even back the way he had come, but the marks were gone, like they had never even been there. He began to get frantic and disoriented, and just when his fear began to take on new heights, the battery in his safety helmet light died. As panic set in, he realized no one would come looking for him. He wandered blindly, bumping into rocks and falling, until eventually he accepted his fate. As he lay on the cold ground dying of dehydration, he drifted in and out of consciousness, haunted by visions of Patty. In his final dream, she laughed at him, telling him he deserved to die alone in the dark for what he had done to her. He awoke screaming for forgiveness, but it was too late. After days of suffering, he died alone in that cold, black mine. To this day, it is said that the old number 8 mine is haunted by the ghost of Mike Toothman. His anguished cries for Patty's forgiveness echo through the tunnels, a chilling reminder of the price of his greed and violence.